Hey everyone, ADHD talk today, medication, and the subject of burnout from the medication. Not ADHD burnout, ADHD medication burnout, or more specifically, burnout from continual use and misuse of stimulants, all be them prescribed and legal, including coffee. I've fucked myself up. And I can only blame myself, although I do feel a little bit bitter towards the healthcare system for hanging me out to dry. So a brief story into my background. I was re-diagnosed with ADHD about 4 years ago, and I was given Elvance. Went through the titration process, started on 20 milligrams, went 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, basically straight up to max dose over the period of like 6 weeks. And it changed my life. I felt happy for the first time ever, really. Was motivated to do things. I could focus, I could work. It was truly emotional, like to feel like I could actually live my life for the first time ever, at the age of 31. And unfortunately it didn't last long. I'd say probably about a year. After around 6 months or so it started going backwards, but after around a year I was like, this isn't really doing much anymore. So I'd have a coffee or another coffee just to try and get the same effect, where I'd feel good and I'd feel focused. And before I knew it, it was 2 or 3 coffees a day, sometimes with a 0 sugar Monster Energy or something in the afternoon, and occasionally I would take a little bit more of the medication than I was supposed to, certainly in more recent days, and that was just to function at this point. So basically I've gone through the majority of my life feeling symptoms of depression and low mood and low energy and anxiety and all of that, which actually turned out just to be ADHD, because as soon as I was treated for ADHD, all of that went away and I just felt great, for the first time ever on the medication. And to be honest with you, I've become reliant on it. I've become addicted to it, and I haven't missed a single dose since I started. And in the back of my mind, I had read that you're supposed to take medication holidays. You're supposed to take maybe a day a week off, or maybe 2 days a week off, or whatever, just to try and stop this tolerance from building up. But unfortunately, after I developed the dependency to them, I would always just, in the back of my mind, I'd be like, well, I haven't got a doctor telling me to do that, and I don't want to mess around with the medication without the doctor's advice. But that was kind of just an excuse, really, because I didn't want to stop. And it's been a struggle for the last year or so. It was about a year ago I went to the doctors and I basically said to them that the medication isn't working anymore, and I feel like I've gone completely back to square one, except my heart rate is up 25 beats per minute, resting heart rate, because I'm constantly artificially stimulating my body with the central nervous stimulant medication that I've been prescribed. So now I feel the same as what I used to feel, if not worse, plus I'm basically addicted to amphetamine drugs. And they were useless, they didn't help, and it took a lot for me to get there. As a man that's wants to be successful and ambitious and that, I've been fighting it, but it's got to the point now where I can't fight it anymore, and I've been feeling constantly exhausted, mentally more than anything. But the thing is, when you're mentally exhausted, you don't want to do anything physically either. So I've not been going to the gym because I haven't felt like I had the energy, and I know that it's not physical exhaustion, it's mental exhaustion. So I've not been going to the gym, which has a negative impact on my mental health. The whole reason that I have gone to the gym for the last 15 years really is because it helps me feel good. But and you know, I teach people as an online coach. You know, I help people be disciplined and make the whole process work for them, and I have more than enough time on my hands, and I understand discipline enough to know that I could get to the gym and I could work out. But something that most people listening to this, if they haven't got ADHD or if you haven't experienced ADHD, is the absolute crippling, debilitating procrastination that you get when you are burnt out, when there is no dopamine available. You understand that ADHD is a brain chemical imbalance to do with the dopamine system, and you need dopamine to be motivated to do anything in life. And everybody has dopamine, but with ADHD people, they don't produce as much dopamine, or they don't utilize the dopamine that's available. So they often feel very, very unmotivated to do things. And I've reached that stage now where pretty much every day is a battle to do anything, but I still do as much as I can to ensure that my family doesn't go without. I've got a mortgage to pay, I've got bills to pay, and I've got 2 kids and a wife to support. And you know, that's what keeps me going. But it's reached a point now, like I say, where I've had to take action, and I've contacted Psychiatry UK, who were the people that initially prescribed me the medication, and they are slowly but surely getting round to getting me listened to by a consultant. And in the meantime, I've got to go to the GP and just explain to them that I'm struggling, because I guess that's what you've got to do. The problem is I don't actually know what to do. I guess I need to start reducing the medication, and I need to start reducing the coffee to give my dopamine system a break, or to give my central nervous system a break from being hammered with stimulants. But you know, it's been 4 years now, every single day taking central nervous stimulants. Basically, what I'd imagine, you know, driving your car around in first gear all the time, or second gear. You imagine doing second gear at 70 mile an hour down the motorway. It's going to blow up sooner or later, and I feel like I've blown up. And I've been battling with it for a long while, but you know, just recently, just a few days ago, I was like, I can't carry on like this. I can't do it anymore. So I've taken immediate action, as hard as it is, as somebody who's dependent on these things and who relies on them really to function. I've halved my dose of medication, and I'm cutting my caffeine down as much as possible. I'm actually, as hypocritical as it may sound, if that's the right word, I'm actually having my first coffee of the day now, but it's 9:30 in the morning, and usually I've already had 2 or 3 by now, and this is going to be my only one of the day. Like I say, usually I'll have two like home brewed coffees, like proper coffees with a French press at home in the morning, and I'll have them, and I'll wait for them and the tablet to kick in before I peel my ass off the sofa and get started for the day. Usually I'll feel good for a couple of hours. I manage to get the kids ready for school or whatever, get myself sorted out, maybe make a video for social media while I'm feeling good, because I know that I'm going to feel shit in just a few hours later. And then when I start to feel crap, I'll go and grab another coffee. That'll keep me going for another couple of hours. And then usually around 11 o'clock in the morning, I'll have my second dose of ADHD medication, which will get me through for a few more hours. And then typically I would have another caffeinated drink, sort of 2-3 o'clock. And then by 4 o'clock, I'm fucked. Like by 4 or 5 o'clock, usually I'm just useless. And that is after 3 or 4 caffeinated drinks and maximum dose ADHD medication. And there has been times where I've had to do things in the evening, certainly during the summer holidays, where we've taken the kids to the fireworks, which don't start till like 9 o'clock at night, which is late for me. Or me and my wife have gone on a date night and we've gone out for a meal. and I don't want to be yawning and feeling tired, and I want to engage in conversation with my wife on a date night, I'll take an extra dose of ADHD medication, and that is effectively misuse, because you're not supposed to go beyond your prescribed dose, but that was the only way that I could function, and it's reached a point now where that is no longer working either, and I guess there's two options from here. Keep beyond where I am now is going to become abuse. Like, I'm going to be abusing caffeine and abusing medication, and I'm aware enough and intelligent enough and switched on enough. I'm aware of my health. I'm aware of my heart. You know, I wear a watch and it's got all the, you know, health metrics on there. But, you know, as I've said, whether you know me personally or not, you know, I'm very well educated in, you know, the physical body, also mental health as well. It's something that I've, you know, been working on for the last sort of 7 or 8 years through research and videos and books and stuff, and psychology as well. I just obsess over things. It's an ADHD thing, right? I obsess over things, and I've been obsessed with self-development for the last, you know, few years, and probably that in combination with the caffeine and the medication is what's burnt me out, because my brain never stops. It's constant, because I just want to know everything about everything, and if there are any struggles, if I'm having any struggles at all in life, I want to find a solution, and sometimes there isn't one, and but I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying to figure it out, and it's gotten to the point now, like I say, where there's no moving forward from here other than really taking the piss with things and putting my health in jeopardy. So I'm thinking about documenting this, because I've tried looking for people that have burnt themselves out on ADHD medication and on stimulants and on caffeine, and when you type that in, all you get is ADHD burnout, and this isn't ADHD burnout. That's what I experienced for the majority of my life before I was medicated, and that went away when I started taking the medication. You know, this is central nervous system burnout. This is my dopamine system. You know, the dopamine receptors in my brain are screwed. I've been smashing them with these stimulants, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and my body and my brain and my central nervous system can't cope anymore. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned for my health. I'm concerned. Hopefully, from what I've read, it's unlikely that there's been any long-term damage, but I'm going to have to go through hell during this process of reducing the dose and perhaps cutting it out and changing the medication, which obviously I won't do without professional guidance. So I'm hoping to hear back from Psychiatry UK soon. I'm going to the GP today just to let them know that, you know, what's going on, but they are never much help, unfortunately. And if you are lucky enough to get some sort of a referral from the GP, it's usually months, if not years. And it's like, I need fucking help now. Like, I struggle to get out of bed in the morning. The last coffee that I had was yesterday morning, when I decided to make a change. Yesterday I had a headache all day, from early afternoon, because my body was like, hey, where's my medication? Where's my tablets? Where's my coffee? Where's my caffeine at? But I resisted that yesterday and just rested. I did a couple of meditations and had a small nap in the early afternoon, and then mid-afternoon I did another meditation and fell asleep again, and I actually slept for about an hour, and I woke up and I was still tired, banging headache, and then I was back in bed by like 8 o'clock, and then I slept for like 10 hours last night, woke up this morning and I looked like shit, like just knackered. after all that sleep and after all that rest. It's my son's first day at big school today. He's just gone into year 7 and he's got his, he's all suited and booted in his nice blazer and his tie and all that. And I wanted to be there this morning, and by be there I mean like switched on, but I wasn't. I was just like, I had a decaf coffee when I woke up, and I took my one and only tablet of the day, and that's how I'm talking to you now, is because basically I am artificially stimulating myself to be able to function, to do these things. But I know that in a few hours, after the tablet's worn off, and the coffee's worn off, I'm going to be pretty much a waste of space for the rest of the day. But it's just it's something that I think that I've got to go through. But I'm hoping to get some expert advice. I'm hoping to speak to a professional, somebody that really knows what they're talking about when it comes to stimulant medication and the long-term repercussions of not taking a break, and actually what is wrong with me, and what's the solution, because I don't really know. I've managed to get it into my head that this is the problem. It's the caffeine and it's the stimulants, and I don't think I'm wrong. But maybe it's an underlying health issue. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. But my instincts are telling me that it's this, and the way out is to basically start coming off of the stimulants. And the disheartening thing about that is I know how it feels to be off of stimulants, because that's how I lived the majority of my life until I was diagnosed in 2021 or whenever it was. And that doesn't give me much motivation or excitement either, because when I'm not on the caffeine and on the medication, I feel like shit anyway. So basically I feel like shit now, and my only thing to look forward to is feeling like shit. And it's funny, people think ADHD is cool. Everyone wants ADHD these days, and it's just so fucking sad, because it's like you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Like, the reason that you can't sit still, and the reason that you're struggling to focus, is because you're hammering your dopamine receptors, flicking social media, watching porn, and spending all your time on Tinder trying to find a cheap date and drinking at the weekends. That's why your dopamine system's fucked. You don't have ADHD, but everyone thinks they have ADHD now because of the way that we live in modern days. All this instant gratification stuff, especially flicking on social media, it's going to have the same effect on your dopamine system, and the side effects of that are going to look like ADHD. But if you just sorted your life out, you wouldn't be experiencing those symptoms. That's not to say that I'm the only person in the world with ADHD. I'm sure that there are many millions of people that genuinely have ADHD, but it just seems like it's a bit of a buzzword at the moment and everyone wants it. And what I'm telling you is, you don't fucking want it. And you don't want to go down this road of taking stimulant medication, especially if you don't actually need it. Because I was a person that did need it and it's ended up fucking me up. So I dread to think what it would do to somebody that was misdiagnosed because they think they have ADHD from a poor lifestyle. But anyway, I don't know, just a chat. Don't really know where I was going with it. My coffee's probably gone cold now. So actually, I usually get Americano, which is a bit boring, but it's the strongest one. But because I'm only having one coffee a day now, I actually want to enjoy it a little bit. So I've gone with a cappuccino today with the chocolate on top. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I can actually feel like I've only had half this cup and my headache is subsiding already, which just goes to show how fucked I am, to be honest. But we will see how it goes. And I'm probably going to make a short series on this because, like I said, I couldn't find anything on Tinterwebs about it, and I needed help and I couldn't find any. So if I can document this and I come up with a solution, and it may help some people, so that sounds good to me because I like helping people. But yeah, like I say, I'll leave it there, and I'll speak to you in the next video.